Hello, everybody. How are you guys all doing? Happy Pride Month, everybody. Welcome to Toronto Defiance Community Cup for Pride. I am so excited to be here. My name is CB, and I'm so excited to be joined by my good friend Jag. Jag, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling ecstatic. It's an amazing month. This is an amazing community. And now we get to celebrate all of these incredibly talented players here today. And it's all for a great cause. It's for charity. And, there's nothing better than that. And there's also some cool prizes along the way, but we'll get to that in a little bit. This tournament already, we had a bunch of play yesterday. 32 teams originally were in this single elimination bracket. So no chances if you messed up that first go around. And now we're down to that final four.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull up the bracket here real quick so we can take a look at that. Like you said, we started off with 32 teams, but as of right now, we've narrowed the pack down to the top eight that you see here before you. We're going to see the top four coming through here. We've got prizes for all of these players, by the way. All of these teams are going to be walking away with some Toronto Defiant mouse pads, but we have the big prize for our number one spot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 1,000 Canadian dollars going to be donated to the LGBTQ plus charity of that winning team's choice. 1,000 Overwatch League tokens per member on that team, as well as 5 AMD swag bags full of some really cool stuff. And then also on top of all of that, there's also going to be a raffle later today for the AMD Ryzen 5 7600 X CPU, and that's just going to be raffled off to any of the potential participants who've been playing today. So there's a lot of really cool stuff on the line here, as well as
Like,
just
are casters eligible for that? Like, I could
I
probably
know
use
I
the new
want that.
CPU. Like, that sounds pretty sweet. But yeah, shouts out to AMD for giving us that to raffle off to one lucky player, and unfortunately, likely not you or I.
So sad.
All
But
right.
yeah, we're gonna look at the rosters now. So I think one thing that's so important about this tournament is it's been a lot of 2-0 Overwatch so far. We've only had one match go down to a 2-1, and that was earlier on in the tournament. And with these two teams here today, I'm expecting a pretty close matchup. This is a lot of New York Excelsior Academy, but not all of it.
Yeah, there's a couple of missing pieces here, but some people that are familiar to that kind of, NYXL Academy sphere, some people that have been close friends with a lot of the players there and have played on various, teams, little sister teams, academy teams, and whatnot. So, we have Wicca, Peace, Wisps, and Kindred. Wicca and Peace have played together in the past on Bumblebees, or no, not Bumblebees, on Hive. Bumblebees was the academy team for Hive that I believe Aramori was a part of. And then, of course, Wicca, Wisps, and Kindred, you have that core of the NYXL Academy roster here. So a lot of familiarity, a lot of synergy, a lot of just good friends coming together to absolutely pound at Overwatch.
And a lot of these players showing up in open division and calling all heroes. So a lot of representation of just amazing gameplay throughout tier 3 and tier 2. Let's see who they're going to be going up against today. It's going to be the silly squad. And these are some heavy hitters as well. I think one of the most interesting things about all this is that you've got Gunther on that support role. Just won the Calling All Heroes major recently with Timeless Ethereal. So, like, a big name in that scene, also has been in contenders for quite a while, playing on a few other rosters, such as Phase 2, currently of Sleepover Party. And then you've got Bun in the CPS role, one of the shining stars from the Calling All Heroes scene, is on New York Excelsior Academy, but she's going to be going up against a lot of her teammates.
Yeah, I mean, the NYXL Academy, the squad that did win the last minor tournament. Yeah, Bun along with them. Interesting other dynamic there. You also do have Zemrit of Dart Monkey. So a lot of Calling All Heroes representation here. And of course, because the scenes kind of overlap in a way, and they're both phenomenal scenes. I do love the Calling All Heroes scene. I do love, the LGBTQ community that shows up here in Overwatch. It's a wonderful crop of players. And
Overwatch has really stepped up their game for this month of the year. Like in the past, hasn't really done a ton, but with all the in-game assets, the banners, I want to see Midtown today at some point. I think we got to see Midtown on the broadcast. It'd be a crime if we don't, because the way they have shown pride throughout that map has been incredible.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got the rainbow crosswalks, you've got pride flags hanging from like every single like apartment building all over that map. It feels just like walking around New York, or honestly most cities. Like I see, in my neighborhood, tons of pride flags hanging around out of everybody's window. You always like know you're in a good neighborhood with good company when you see one of those hanging around, and I just love to see it. it makes me feel so warm and comfortable. And like honestly, even though I'm fighting for my life half the time that I'm on Midtown trying to stop a Winston from diving me, I still feel at least a little bit comfortable, knowing that I'm in that good neighborhood.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm from Boston. I feel the exact same way. You love to see all of it around like that. It's not New York, but it's pretty close by. But moving on from that, or getting down to the nitty gritty, it is going to be that first matchup of the day in just a moment. And I got to ask, who is your money on for this?
Okay, so personally, I got to put my money onto the NY Kittens because, again, a little bit of bias because I am close personal friends with both Wicca and Kindred. And I do also think that NYXL Academy core is still going to be very strong there. I think having the familiar pieces with both Peace, uh, accidental pun there, and Aramori is going to serve this team very well. And not to say that like Bun can't do some magic work over there for Silly Squad, but I just feel like the synergy and understanding how Bun likes to play and being able to counterplay it might also play a significant factor. So yeah, my money right now is on the NY Kittens.
You know, I agree. This should be an amazing squad on paper, and I'm sure they're going to put up one heck of a fight. But I got to go with Silly Squad. I mean, I'm going to play a little bit of my own bias. I am friends of Zemrit. I was talking with her yesterday, and she was telling me, "Oh, we're just the silliest squad in the game. Bun is in a 2-0 all of their teammates. It's easy clap." So we'll have to see if that pans out. We're getting into the game in just a moment, so we'll see who is going to be the one with the biggest brain here on the casting desk. Regardless, I just hope we have a great game. I really want to see it go to that third map.
Yeah, absolutely. You said they were going to 2-0 everybody, and so far they, along with all of the other teams at this stage of the game, have kept their promise. The team has dropped a single map, and I don't want to say that any of these teams should drop a map, but yeah, I want to see a map 3 here. So, make it close, make it interesting, make it fun. But at the same time, I still want to be the one who has the biggest brain here. You have to have that bias here because, it's such a tight-knit community. It's impossible not to be a little biased. It's impossible not to want to lean on your friends here a little bit and pred them.
Let's see who comes out on top. Is it's going to be Day Market? I always get mixed up on that one. It used to be called Night Market. It should just be called Market in general now of all the different time zones it can be in. But it's going to be, it looks like the New York Kittens going with the tried and true symmetric comp, just immediately teleporting to the point, setting up all those turrets, make it impossible for Silly Squad to get on to the objective. And also they're going to be going with the Rhine, but the Rhine's actually going to be cut off of the May wall.
Looks like Kindred's actually going to be able to get back to the team safely, which is, very good because you're not going to have an easy time holding the point here if you lose your tank that early. And hey, they've isolated Jishua. They're not going to actually chase that down, though. Just going to go ahead, live and let live, and focus on capturing the point. And that's a nice pick off there onto Bun to open things up, so no more pesky May walls to section you off for the side of NY Kittens. And yeah, they're going to dispatch Silly Squad pretty quickly off the back of that one. And Bun is actually going to make a swap over onto the Junkrat.
Yeah, try to go for more spam damage, not being able to cut off that Reinhardt with the walls. I mean, New York Kittens, they had a strategy. Hey, we're just going to run the same strat that's worked on this map for literal years. And guess what? It is, in fact, working. You get there first, you set up, you create a lot of chaos, and you're able to spam with that Symmetra pretty well. Everyone thinks about her beam, but you can just throw out that alternate fire quite a bit. So, great job from them. Silly Squad, they're going to have to find a way back into this. I mean, they have quite a bit of spam with the Hanzo and the Junkrat, but they're actually going to be teleported on.
Yeah, this comp is very good for spam, but it's not so great at playing close, and that's exactly what the Kittens are going to do. They're just going to teleport right on top of Silly Squad, wipe them out one by one, and there's not really much else to say about it, just kind of a systematic dismantling of everyone. Fun, the last to remain, going to go ahead and rejoin the team back in spawn.
That's a pretty big stagger. I mean, there's already 60% on the board for New York Kittens. They win one more fight after all this goes through, and they might just win this first sub map outright. They have positioning, they have an Earth Shatter. They could go for the Silly. They could try to go for that TP Shatter play, completely catch Silly Squad off guard.
And Ant Matrix is going to go ahead and come out, but the Kitten's just going to go ahead and walk right on through it. But Kindred takes a lot of damage trying to do that, and the sound barrier from Wicca is just a hair too slow to save her. And I mean, that's a pretty big loss of life there if you're the side of NY Kittens. Silly Squad should be able to try and rotate over to the point, or if not, they should definitely start considering that, because you only got 3 seconds left. Jish, we're going to go ahead and pop the Annihilation. Wicca is going to fall, and Silly Squad, it's looking like they're about to get on the board here.
Yeah, Kindred just going a little bit too deep there in that fight, tries to push past the implication matrix and nullify it, but the sound barrier not there in time. I think they also dropped a blizzard throughout all that chaos. Piece wasn't able to connect. The one benefit I'd say for Yorkins is it took Silly Squad so long to actually rotate to the point that they are now in one fight territory. They get one more team wipe, and it's their point to take. It's their sub map to win, and they go up 1-0. But Silly Squad, all I really saw from them was the annihilation. I know they've got a sound barrier at least very much. It looks like they also have the Junkrat ultimate ready to go, so we could see a Riptire momentarily. But they're going to be opening up things for the Hanzo ultimate.
Yeah, but the Shatter from Kindred just takes down Lizard Wizard, and the Riptire from Bun isn't going to find anything. Kindred just running wild here, and not even a Junkrat trap can slow her down. Wisps going to go ahead and use the turret there to take down Bun, and yeah, NY Kittens just clap right on back. Only 38% given over to Silly Squad, and the Kittens are going to take night and or day market.
One of the markets. It's a market for sure. Just absolutely, though, profound play from them. Very, very smartly executed. They didn't really overextend except for that one fight where Kindred went a little bit too close to the enemy team. But other than that, they really understood this comp and how to work with this Reinhardt. And while most people would probably say the Ramattra is superior to the Reinhardt because you can punch through shields, they make the Reinhardt work. And those Maywalls, everything just basically from the team from NYKins was executed very, very well. We're going to have to see how they do now on Gardens, though. Brawl, not going to be nearly as strong here. Probably not going to try to run the Reinhardt. We usually see a lot more dive. What I'm seeing, though, Silly Squad may be rocking the Orisa this time around.
Yeah, and the NY Kittens are going to be going out with a signature from Kindred. That's going to be the Junker Queen coming out. She is very profound on the Junker Queen. Actually, that was probably the hero pick, in my opinion, that helped them win the last minor, but losing Wisps might not make it quite so doable this time around. Bun with a quick two-piece there on the Torbjorn there, and now Kindred is lost with no health, gonna get speared nearly off the side of the map there into the pit. Get take down Jishua, just barely alive, but yeah, that's pretty much academic at this point. Silly Squad will take first cap.
And Bud was doing absolute work in that fight. Gets an opening pick onto the enemy. Ash just lets the turret do the rest. This Torbjorn absolutely paying off early on. They do lose their Orisa, but they get the point. They get the first cap, and they get a lot of ult percentage off of it. I really like the Orisa pick into the Junker Queen, because usually Junker Queen just wants to run into you. She wants to use that Dragon Knife to start getting some bleed damage, get herself healed up, basically just be this ultimate sustain weapon. But if you're just running into her with the Orisa, you're just like basically pushing her away. You're the one who's being the actual tank bully. But Bun gonna be found out first here.
Yeah, that Orisa versus Junker Queen matchup simultaneously will feel like you're doing a lot, but also nothing at all. So the Ramattra is coming out, and the fists are flying from Kindred, but she's still getting isolated and focused down, able to hold on. And anti-nade onto Jishua is actually gonna make make that Orisa turned into glue. Lizard Wizard going in here to try and find something to keep Silly Squad alive thus far, but it's looking like it's going to be all the Kittens coming out here. That's going to be a flip at about 50%.
It's all fun and games playing the horse until you got to go to the glue factory. A great swap, the New York Kittens. Great adaptability there to clearly change their comp around and say, hey, we cannot play this into the Orisa. Let's just go for the Echo. Let's go for the Ramattra. So again, go for this kind of poke-heavy comp. That's what they're going to do with the Hanzo as well. They can play from pretty good range. And, I mean, Silly Squad, they're trying to go for this rotation, but you see already they're getting just absolutely rained down upon.
Yeah, it's the anti-nades from Aramori that are slowing down the pace from Silly Squad. They can't go in as aggressively as they want to, and it's going to be the Dragon Strike from Wisps to help clean it up. A pickoff there from Bun onto Kindred might mean that Silly Squad are going to have another way in here soon while they wait for that regroup, but you definitely need more than that.
That felt personal. A little bit of heat coming through with the tactical crouch. I mean, you can tell all these players very familiar with each other. They want to win this. It's not just for the prize on the line. It's also for pride, and New York Kittens answering strongly. They do have to throw out a few ultimates as a counter to the amplification matrix. And now you're going to see the multiple core come through. That's going to be the Terror Surge, and they also have a Blizzard ready to go on top of it.
Yeah, the Blizzard plus Lizard Wizard going to take down Wicca there. The duplicate from P is going to be forced out. And Silly Squad are kind of taking some presence on the point here. The NY Kittens don't have all that much presence on the point currently, but Wicca is going to, Kindred is going to change that with the Annihilation, but again, taken down by Bun, and Silly Squad they're looking to cap here. Once again, they've lost Jishua. It's not clean in either direction. Very scrappy. The turret taken down. Wisps gonna find a quick headshot there onto Zemret, and finally, the NY Kittens have gotten back into this, and it's starting to look a lot more clean.
Yeah, it's looking really good for them and really bad for Silly Squad. The Doomfist swap also from Kindred gets them back so quickly. They're running out of time. I mean, they have no way to touch this objective. They're getting pushed back all the way to their spawn. I think this is just going to be the map right here.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, Kindred is just in the spawn with the punches, just, you know, making it so difficult for Silly Squad to even hold W. And if you can't even do that much, you're not going to contest the point. And that's a pretty decisive win there for the NY Kittens there. And, I mean, Silly Squad, doesn't look like they're going to 2-0 everybody from here on out.
Yeah, definitely not going to be a 2-0 for them. Zemrit lying to me, how could they? You got to have that confidence, right? I mean, you got to believe in your own hype if you're going to try to play against a team as good as this as your opponents. I think the biggest thing is we just saw that the game knowledge is absolutely phenomenal. They came out with this great plan on day market. They executed to perfection. They lose one fight, no sweat. They still have so many ultimates in their alt banks. They don't like just go immediately swap to this other comp because they know they still have the next fight in their pocket. And then on the next map, they do lose that first engagement, but then they say, hey, okay, what counters them? What are they countering on our side? Let's make those adjustments real quick. Because on a map like Control that's so quick, you have to make those adjustments right away. You wait 2 fights, and you might never build your ultimate. You might not even have that chance to actually get into that counter play that you're going for. So very sound logic early on from the New York Kittens. They're going to get them that 2-0 victory here on map 1. But it wasn't, a roll. It wasn't just that stop that maybe the New York Kittens were hoping for. It was still a back and forth affair for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Silly Squad is a very talented squad nonetheless, regardless of how silly they may or may not be. They still have managed to 2-0 their way up until this point, and they are able to show us why they were able to get that far. NY Kittens might just be like the wall that they can't quite break, no matter how hard they try and switch to spam heroes, the Junkrat and the Hanzo to burn it down. I think that going back to the day market, going back to that point and going to the composition that Silly Squad switched to, it kind of felt like an improper read for a little bit there, because it's like they swapped to the spam heroes and it's like, well, we can try and just burn down the Reinhardt shield, but what if she just like teleports onto us, drops the shield, and starts swinging the hammer? Like, what do you do then? Not much, really.
And that's exactly what happened. I mean, you were saying it yourself, like, sure, if they play it range, it works out perfectly, but what if the Reinhardt is just immediately in your face, swinging for the fences at you? And they just didn't have a way to back out of it. They didn't have a way to get farther from that. And you just saw that their counter pick, it just kind of fell apart. So unfortunately for them, not the counterplay they were looking for. The New York Kittens, it was the counterplay they were looking for. We're going to be taking a quick break to see if the Silly Squad can regroup. So stick around. We've got map 2 coming up in just a moment.
Welcome back, everybody. If you're just joining us here on Watchpoint Gibraltar, we're right smack dab in the middle of our semi-final matchup here between the NY Kittens, who are up 1-0 over Silly Squad. And we've got a bit of a substitution. We've got Sniper coming in for Kindred on the side of NY Kittens. And that kind of makes me wonder why we're here at Watchpoint Gibraltar, because typically Sniper is a Sigma player.
Yeah, you were thinking it'd probably be Casino Royale, but here we are. Gibraltar, dive heavy map. We're seeing both teams go for those dive tanks. The Winston versus the Diva. We'll have to see how Sniper performs. I mean, maybe they're making this swap. Maybe it's something they practice. Maybe they just wanted to get Sniper some playtime, guaranteed, since it was Kindred on that last map. But right now, they're getting antied constantly. This is the second time they've had that biotic nade go their way.
Yeah, Sniper's not going to get a whole lot of playtime if they just can't move, because they're constantly anti-healed and, afraid to move up. Because, I mean, no one can really help you. You can't support a Winston if you can't heal him. So, yeah, Sniper, they're just going to have to play a little bit safe here as both teams try to vie for the high ground. But Peace, while trying to push the cart through Car Wash, gets caught out there by Zemrit, and that's going to be NY Kittens forced to push back or fall back just a little bit, because they're not going to be able to make that cart progress. And Bun goes in for a hack here onto Wisp. The collapse is also there from Jishua, but it's not enough to secure the kill. The translocate forced out, and for now, both squads still kind of at a stalemate.
You can see that Silly Squad, they're really playing around this summer. They want Bun to get those hacks, and they want to immediately jump on that target. Wit's now getting hacked for a second time. I mean, Sniper seems to be constantly on the run. They do get the nano, but where's the follow-up?
I mean, Sniper going to go ahead and jump in with the nano boost, but is being pressured out with the hacks and all of the damage, and they're not able to get all that much done before being forced away. He's still trying to just push the cart, and there might have been a little bit of a disjointedness there. The two might have not have gone in at the same time. I didn't quite see, but either way, they haven't really accomplished all that much for that nano. I mean, Armory is already charging up another one lightning fast, though.
They did trade nanos, that's the thing. Gengar also had to use their own. The Wicca is anti, isn't going to go down. It's actually going to be Gengar who falls first.
Yeah, it's going to be massive. No Ana. I mean, it's going to make a D.Va just as hard to sustain as a Winston here. But might have to invest this EMP just to stop the bleeding here a little bit. Get the NY Kittens out of their hair, so to speak. This is also not a very optimal angle for Zemrit to be taking. Can't really find a good shot. Peace able to live to fight another day. The EMP from Bun did come out. Did not find much of anything. Dragon Strike now going to come in from Wisps. Try and shut down one method of Ingress for Silly Squad. The bodies keep on coming, the contest keeps coming, but the cart is getting ever closer there. Pulse Bomb gonna come out, doesn't find much of anything. The Bob comes out to contest, and it's doing just that, but it's gonna fall pretty swiftly. And now it's just a Jishua who's being forced to use the self-destruct to try and contest, and he's gonna fall as well. This should be the cap.
Yeah, this was like a never-ending fight that started right as the gates open. It was kind of just like, oh, maybe you get a pick, we get a pick. The cart never really stopped moving. Then finally, you see, after all the ults come out, it's New York Kittens that come out on top. You saw so many panic ultimates at the end. The Bob, the Primal Rage, or it was actually the D.Va self-destruct now that they've swapped for Winston. EMP as well, just nothing really that Silly Squad could get a good hold on. But now on the second point, I mean, this should be much more advantageous for them. We know that second point is just so OP for the defenders of how much high ground there is, how much low ground the attackers have to get through. But it's really about battling for the spaceship first off, and already New York Kittens, they're starting to push up on this, so they want to take that high ground away from the defenders.
Yeah, there was a couple stagger kills onto the supports at the end that just let New York Kittens just walk right on up here, and they're going to walk just a little bit further with Wicca's rally there, but they had to turn back. They left Aramori at the mercy of a nano Jishua in the backline there, and that's going to be the dead push. And you mentioned how important it is to hold the high ground. Well, now Silly Squad, they can get a hold on it.
They can get a hold on it. I will say the one thing that's good for New York Kittens is they did get quite a bit of push there. I mean, they get it basically halfway through, if not like 70% through that second point. So that high ground, especially the spaceship, not going to be really as great of a strategic hold because a lot of the time the cart will be right underneath you, so you won't have the best sight lines. But overall, Silly Squad being able to get that hold still very important because it looks like if they didn't win that fight, they might just lose 2 points just like that. Give like 4 minutes New York Kittens in that third point, not what you want at all.
You also don't want Wisp to be getting headshots on your Ana there. Gengar gonna catch a stray there. Dragon Strike from Wisp to also force some presence off of that high ground. Jishua has to deal with that pesky Archer in the backline, but yeah, someone's gonna have to contest the cart here soon, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of beefy bodies to do just that. Jishua actually still opting to pressure the supports, but with the EMP from Bun, might be able to find something, but they can't close it out. Gengar falls again, the cap nearly comes through, and Jishua has to go back into panic mode just to try and stop the cap from coming through, but it's so close. Just over a meter to go. They finally take down Sniper. He's trying to look for just about anything. Jishua's health bar falls, and that might just be the cap now.
Yeah, I really like the idea there. I mean, in desperation, when you know you've got the closer spawn, you can get back to contest this. You go for that EMP in the room with the supports, you try to cut them off, but you don't find the eliminations. Even with that hacked health pack, they still were able to get the Bionic Nade off. They're maybe actually still be able to hold to defend this after Bun used that EMP. It's still going.
Yeah, they haven't quite been able to get rid of Silly Squad completely, and in fact, they're gonna have to backpedal just a little bit because they just weren't swift enough. It looked like they should have had that, but I guess just a couple of bodies just went unchecked for too long. It is still in a very dangerous place where if Bun is not paying attention to where Peace is at all times, the back tap might be possible. And you can even tell the supports want that, and Wisp's gonna go ahead and dislodge the supports from that little back corner there with the Dragon Strike. Jishua gonna pressure out the Kitten supports there with a nice little jump, but has to go back to try and peel. And the Kittens currently have control of the high ground, but they need to get control of the cart to get it that last couple of meters through the end of hangar phase. They only have 30 seconds to do it. The Primal Rage to clean up Gengar, but they've lost Wisps. Bun has the EMP, but gets forced away. Should have an opportunity to come back in here and use it, especially with the rally to sustain, but that is now gone. Bun does pop the EMP, takes down Sniper. Jishua takes down Peace. It is not clean in either way. Once again, less than a meter to go, and Wicca is gonna fall. I think Silly Squad might have held it here.
They did. It comes down to that first EMP that buys them enough time. It doesn't win them the fight, but it allows those staggers to come through where they get the respawns and they're just able to stall out long enough. Then they get the second EMP. They get the rally right in time to hold on to the point, and no one touches. That's the end of the round.
Yeah, there was a quick little OT touch there from Wisps on the Sombra to at least trigger overtime, but you know, force the translocate out, and there's just nobody else in position that could realistically have gotten to the point. I mean, even if Wisps have been able to stay alive like a couple seconds longer, I think there was just too much daylight between the spawn and where the cart was, because you're essentially going all the way to the checkpoint to try and get that last little bit of meterage. And I mean, yeah, that's very unfortunate that, again, like NY Kittens, it just felt like they couldn't close it out there.
It really just it felt like they should have too, right? Like it was all in their hands. They had the numbers. They didn't have the spawn advantage, but they had the cart right on the doorstep. It was right on the precipice. I think it was like 0.9 meters away at one point. It was literally just like inches, centimeters away from that checkpoint to get the third point unlocked, but they just could not find those final eliminations. And again, I'm gonna give a lot of credit to Bun playing that Sombra to perfection, staying alive, getting the hacks, and those EMPs when it was most crucial. The Lizard Wizard, that rally after you lose game car, if you didn't get that up, if you didn't stay alive for that, I mean, that's over. That is definitely the third point going the other way to New York Kittens. So some clutch plays for some of these key members on the side of Silly Squad that keep their hopes alive. And this is super important because this is a 1-2. So this is the last life for Silly Squad potentially. They lose this map, their tournament dream is over. There's no chance of the finals. They win this, they force that map 3. They are still alive and kicking. So clutch plays and clutch moments. This is what I want to see. This is a great map so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, good news for New York Kittens, by the way, is that we do tend to see a lot of carts stall out midway through the hangar phase, not quite up against the door, because that phase can kind of feel like a glue trap where the more you struggle, the more stuck you get. And at least New York Kittens got it pretty far, so this is still holdable. But Silly Squad, I mean, they have a win condition and they want to meet it. They're going to try and go in for the dive there. Peace getting forced to recall out. NY Kittens, they're still holding on to the high ground. They've dislodged Bun and they're able to withstand so far. Gonna go ahead and anti-nade Jishua, drop on down to put the pressure on, but the heal does inevitably come through. Bun is once again pressured away, not able to get a whole lot done on the Sombra so far.
Yeah, and that's what you want to do. You want to catch them out every single time. You want to get those whip shots like that bounce the Winston back. You don't want them to take the high ground. Sure, they're getting some cart progress underneath, but having control of this high ground, like we talked about on the second point, is so key on first point as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because you can just drop in on the car wash here, get all the cleave damage like Sniper is doing, but the backup actually isn't quite there and forced to jump away. But I mean, it kind of feels like a stalemate where everyone's just afraid to peek around the corner because they know that just death lurks at every corner. So it's resorted to just being that Tracer duel down on the ground again, while everyone else once again tries to fight for control of that high ground. And they got Wisps and Sniper just kind of forced into a little box here. Lizard Wizard with a couple shots to the dome almost falls. It's really, really low there, but the pickoff onto Peace means there won't be the cleanup to get that kill there. Sniper trying to pressure away the supports, but the cart has now snuck out back behind them. A nice pick off there onto Zemert from Wisps, and potentially another shot to look for a support. No, still forced away from Jishua, but the cart got pretty close, but it's slowed down now.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to back out of this. Probably wait for that regroup. They did lose one in the meantime. Go in potentially for an EMP engagement. But it's gonna be the Nano coming out first on the other side.
Yeah, the Kittens don't want this to be comfortable for Silly Squad, so the Nano and the Dragon Strike into that tiny little room. They find Wisps on the tail end there, but I think with the defender's advantage, that's not gonna matter all that much. NY Kittens, they hold.
Well, they do get the late stagger onto Peace. We'll have to see if they're able to capitalize on that quick enough. But these first point fights have been like an awkward middle school dance. Everyone's waiting for someone else to make the first move. And finally, once that first move comes through, that's when all hell breaks loose. But until then, it's just everyone like pondering for position, trying to build up their ultimates. And now both teams have quite an arsenal to go with in the second fight, as that pulse bomb's gonna go a little bit to the side from Zemret.
Yeah, shows the wall who's boss, but Aramori looking pretty unfazed. Lizard Wizard has the rally, might be looking to pop it here, but Bun gonna go ahead and pop the EMP. It only catches, I mean, it catches onto 3, but there's not really any follow-up there, so I think you kind of would like to have that ult back. You're also going to be forced to use the rally from Lizard Wizard, so Silly Squad, they have to invest heavily here. The cart's inching closer. Sniper with the Primal Rage, a beefy health bar to tackle indeed, and they're not quite able to do it. Silly Squad, they still haven't claimed a single body here, and the longer this takes, the more Wisps is going to build up that EMP that will become an ever-present threat, and if the follow-up is there, that could be NY Kittens holding. The Nano Boost is going to go out onto Jishua, but again, you're not getting a whole lot of blood for your money here.
No elims, and that EMP, like you said, ever so present. The Nano actually, I mean, what comes out first. They do get a nice anti onto Wicca, and they end up falling, but trades upon trades, it's a 3v3.
Yeah, Wisp with the pick off there onto Bun might have just sealed it. I think NY Kittens should be able to hold this here, and yeah, Zemret gonna fall as well. Peace with the cleanup there, holds onto the pulse bomb. Only 20 seconds left.
And you're going to see the Silly Squad changes coming out now. They got to go for speed because time is not on their side. Lucio and Moira now on the playing field. It's really going to be, can they stay alive for Bun to get this EMP? And can the EMP get value? That first one we saw here did not get anything really close to what they needed.
Yeah, remember, this is a best of 2, so this is Silly Squad very much so behind the 8 ball, and they're going to go ahead and take down Wicca to start this push off here. Bun has the EMP. Aramori has fallen as well. This should be Silly Squad capping here. They don't even need to invest the EMP, actually. Just going to go ahead and melt down Sniper the old-fashioned way, clean up Wisps, and by the skin of their teeth, Silly Squad cap point A.
Oh, it was touch and go there for a bit, but that pulse swamp from Zemret opens things up. Like you said, they saved the EMP. Possibly the most important thing from this whole encounter going into the second point. They need something to engage with quick. They need something to engage with fast. They're able to take this high ground, use that EMP, get a quick fight win, and they get out the car all the way almost to that like checkpoint area, that golden box of victory. Then everything is in their control. They're looking for the EMP, and there it goes.
Yeah, but Wicca saw that one coming and popped the rally. Sniper has the Primal Rage as well, so they should all be able to stabilize, and yeah, they do. In fact, they killed Gengar, and all of the health bars on NY Kittens, safer pieces, still looking pretty good, but you can take that. You'll sacrifice a Tracer, Peace will be back to the fight in no time flat, and meanwhile, the fight still kicking off. They're actually going to be able to catch out Wisps there on the low ground, and that might have been a little bit of a positional slip up there. NY Kittens are going to fight. They're going to take down Bun. They're still holding strong here, but it's pretty scrappy. The longer this goes, the more it will favor the Kittens.
Wizard has the sound barrier ready to go, so they could try to go for a quick engage, use that extra shield just to beat them up throughout the fight, or use it as a counter potentially to a sound barrier to make sure if anyone gets stuck, they don't fall. But that's gonna be the pulse bomb. It is actually gonna find Gengar. I don't know how it found it to roll that chaos, but Peace now just gonna be a one-person wrecking crew.
Yeah, I have no idea how Gengar died to that either, but even more unfortunate is that the death came like 2% before the coalescence. I mean, and that's an ultimate that you probably could have potentially invested there to try and pressure Peace away.
They will have 3 ultimates going into this fight, though, against only the Nano on the side of New York Kittens. They have a lot to work with. They got to try to hack out this on and make sure they aren't able to get that ultimate off, but even if not, they should have enough healing and shield to sustain through it. They just got to execute quickly. The more they wait, the longer they take, the more time New York Kittens have time to build up things like that Dragon Strike, which just came online.
You do have to be careful, though, because Wisps has the Dragon Strike, and if you keep going into these narrow corridors, you're gonna pop it, and it might be difficult. Meanwhile, both support ultimates from Silly Squad gonna come out. That might be enough to clean up Wisp, but Wisp got the Nano, still able to stay alive. You still have that Hanzo, still have the Dragon Strike. It's gonna come out, and you can see Lizard Wizard wants none of that, and neither does Jishua, who's going to fall. That should be another dead push, but we only have 15 seconds left.
That's not only a dead push, that's the end of the map, the end of this series, unless somehow Silly Squad can pull off a miracle. Bun, so close to EMP, but so low health. Everyone is looking for them right now. They're able to translocate on top of the spaceship, but can they get to the point? They cannot. No one left. And it is going to be New York Kittens taking a 2-0 in dramatic fashion. I gotta say, it looks like it slipped away from Silly Squad. They had so much to work with, but focusing the Nano target is not going to help you out at the end.
It took Silly Squad so long to finally get the cap on point A. Like I said, it was by the skin of their teeth, and point B is just like where time banks go to die anyway. So if you already don't have one, then you're not making it to the end there. And even though they had a lot of momentum and they nearly did push it to that golden box of victory, the New York Kittens were able to hold strong and net themselves a nice 2-0 victory over Silly Squad. A hard fought 2-0 victory, but still, we continue as we've been thus far. We continue on with 2 Overwatch throughout this entire tournament. And just like a quick little update from the side, Bonzi Buddies did win 2-0 over 8D. So that is what the grand finals matchup is going to be.
We're actually, I think it might be 2-1. We'll get confirmation on that on the other side of this break. But it was a 2-0. Okay, so we're getting told it is 2-0. We're getting a few mixed messages, but it is a 2-0. So yeah, there's only been one match so far that was a 2-1, and that was in round like 2. So it's been a while since we've seen another map happen, but we know in the finals we're guaranteed a map 3 no matter what, because that will be a first to 3 instead of a first to 2. So we will see at least 3 maps in that one, potentially 5. Hopefully, I want to see this go the full distance. I want to see some good Overwatch today. But most importantly for New York Kittens, they are moving on. They are 1 series away now from winning this whole dang tournament, the Toronto Defiant Community Cup for Pride, and I mean, they're looking like the favorites, I gotta say, going forward.
100%. I don't want to brag too much, but they were my pick. And like I said, it was that NYXL Academy core that ended up propelling them. A lot of big plays coming out from Wisps. Sniper is also a member of that roster, and they were playing phenomenally on the Winston. Still didn't really look like their comfort pick, but they didn't look too uncomfortable on that pick there, save for a couple times where the pressure from the big nades from Gengar, which just kind of speaks to like Silly Squad as well. Like we said, the talent was there for both of these rosters, and it realistically could have gone either way. But I think the synergy and just the sheer level of talent that the NY Kittens came to the ball with today won them the day.
Yeah, I gotta say, Sniper did not look comfortable in that Winston at first.
Yeah,
Like
that
that,
was it
that
was
those
rough.
those first few dives did not look coordinated, did not look in sync. But as the map went on, you could see that they were really starting to get into the swing of things. You could see that the DPS were there when they were diving, the supports had their back when they were going in. And I think that kind of plays to the fact that, again, 4 out of the 5 people in that lineup for that second map were from NY Academy or NYXL Academy. So that just shows you that's the synergy of playing on the team for a while. You know what the other person's going to do, and then you're able to play off of it. So even when you're put in these uncomfortable scenarios, or maybe it's not the tank you're used to playing, when the team knows what you're going to do, then you can figure things out as you go.
Yeah, like even throwing a player onto a hero that they're not the most known for, not always the most comfortable with, it doesn't take you nearly as long to like fit all the pieces together and figure out how things are supposed to work versus a team that, like we said, was made up of various parts from other parts of the Calling All Heroes scene. Very competent, very talented parts, but not ones that had that same level of synergy. And like you said, it took them a little bit longer for Silly Squad to try and iron out some of those kinks and really get things going. Once they started cooking, they definitely kept on cooking. But again, you can't go into point B with like nothing of a time bank and not just stagger it out the rest of the way, or not like snowball your way the rest of the way through, or else, like I said, time banks go to die in hangar phase in Gibraltar. It is a glue trap. The more you struggle, the more stuck you become, and they stalled out just a little bit before the point there.
Yeah, they had a lot of ingredients to keep on cooking for at least that second point, but they just ran out of them at the end. We're going to be back in just a little bit. We got the grand finals coming up right after this. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a fun one.